faculty member of the WKU Department of Theater and Dance since 2001. He has been practicing and teaching Tai Chi Chuan since the mid-90s. He is skilled in Yang style Tai Chi Chuan long form, Yang style Tai Chi Chuan short form, Tui Shou, which is push sparring, Taiji saber, Taiji narrow blade sword, and Qigong meditation.
Thank you. And you can tell I'm an old man, an old graybeard. So if I were youthful and connected, I'd have a PowerPoint or something for you. But I actually have these old, ancient things called papers. I'm going to hand these out. If you'd like to follow along with some of what I'm going to say, I'm going to keep one copy for myself. I'll give you some to distribute over on this side of the room. And then I'll start some more over here on this side of the room. So, I know that some of you here know a little bit about Tai Chi. Maybe some of you know a lot about Tai Chi. I just want to give you a brief introduction to what it is. That's what I'm handing out here. So, Tai Chi Chuan is oftentimes abbreviated simply as Tai Chi. So you'll hear people say that they practice Tai Chi. It's a traditional martial art focusing on the circulation of Qi. And Qi is a very important concept in Chinese medical philosophy that goes back thousands of years. It's a difficult concept to translate into English. The best we can do is the life force, or vital energy. And according to classical Chinese medical philosophy, your health, and even the health of rivers and mountains, ecosystems, the health of your house and where you live, is all based on the proper balance of that Qi energy. And it's found within and around all living things. Millions of people around the world practice Tai Chi Chuan as a form of gentle, low-impact exercise. And it's a very good way to reduce physical and mental stress. Sometimes it's called moving meditation. If you've seen people do Tai Chi, you'll notice that most of the time they're moving very, very slowly. And there's a good reason for that. At a very basic level, the practice of Tai Chi Chuan involves learning and performing a series of slow, relaxed exercises designed to gradually increase your balance, your muscular balance, your coordination, your flexibility, and to reinforce the relationship between your body's movement and your breath, and again, the circulation of that all-important Qi. Now, with proper training and good teachers, Tai Chi Chuan can also be used as a means of hand-to-hand combat or self-defense. But it takes a long time to get to the point where you can actually use Tai Chi as a combat form or as a means of self-defense. And that takes many, many years of persistent, diligent practice. But that doesn't mean that you cannot learn Tai Chi and derive the benefits, the health benefits of Tai Chi. In other words, you don't have to learn to fight in order to get the benefits from Tai Chi. There are many styles of Tai Chi. There is the oldest form of Tai Chi that we know of is Chen family style Tai Chi, Chen style. Then there's Yang style. There's also Ho and Wu style. These are more recent versions of Tai Chi. They're all based, though, on exactly the same principles. What I'll be demonstrating today, and what I teach every semester as a performing arts class, is Yang style short form, or 24 posture. It takes about 5 minutes to perform from start to finish. And it can be learned in a semester. 2 90-minute classes per week over the course of a university semester is sufficient to learn and memorize the steps, the postures. The long form that I learned to begin with, took me a year just to memorize the steps, and then it took me many years to get to the point where I could do that fluidly and well, and that takes about 20 minutes from start to finish to go through the entire long form, which is a little long for most demonstrations. So what I'm going to be showing you today is the Yang style short form. I've listed some concepts and terms here, and I've already talked about some of them. The most important and central one is that notion of qi, life force or vital energy. You all, I'm sure, are at least aware of acupuncture. Acupuncture is, again, a classical Chinese healing art. And what acupuncturists are doing when they use those very, very thin little needles is they are actually increasing or decreasing the flow of qi through certain pathways in your body. So I should explain that when I say that qi is the life force, is vital energy, it's important to understand that that's not just a general wash of energy that we sort of swim in. In classical Chinese healing, it is very, very specific. There are points all along the body that are places that are called cavities, where if you think about an electrical system, those are intersections or nodes. So if a healer should diagnose your problems as an excess of qi in the liver, they might take a needle and put it in your earlobe, because that channel, like a river, connects those larger liver channels to points closer to the outside of your body where they can access it with a needle. So that's one way of regulating the qi in your own body. Let's say you don't have access to an acupuncturist. Well, you can also go to a Qigong massage therapist, and they will do pretty much the same thing that an acupuncturist will do, but they will do it with their hands, with their fingers. They have very, very well-trained hands, and they can regulate and balance the flow of qi in your body without the use of needles. Let's say that you don't know a Qigong therapist or a Qigong massage therapist. There are still ways that you can regulate the qi in your body, and that's the practice called Qigong. There are many styles and many forms of Qigong. Some of them are just sitting meditation. And what you focus on is breath and connecting certain parts of the qi system, and you learn to fall into a meditative state. But most Qigongs actually involve movement. So, for example, there is a special Qigong set called Tai Chi Chi-Gong, which is part of what I teach when I teach these classes. So, do you guys want to come up and, you can't screw this up, right? So this is Logan and Olivia. They are students this semester in my class, and I asked them if they wanted to come and help demonstrate. So let's just start a good Wu Chi stance, nice and relaxed. And the first thing is you settle and center the body so that the weight is completely evenly distributed. And you're done scratching and adjusting, so you become still. Then you regulate the breath so that you breathe deeply down into your abdomen, and then you calm your mind and let your mind just go clear. And this is where meditation becomes tricky, because our minds want to think about things. It wants to worry about things. It wants to think about what just happened or what might happen later this evening. I might have just failed a test, or I have a big test coming up, or my boyfriend didn't call me back. Whatever. Those thoughts will want to float in. The point of Qigong is to let those thoughts, acknowledge that they happen, but then just let them pass and refocus your energy, or refocus your mind on just breathing. Then, the Tai Chi Chi-Gong set actually involves some movements. So let's just go through we'll go through one of each. Right? So hands on the tabletop. Sink the chi to the dantian. Inhale. And exhale. That's called sink the chi to the dantian. Now expand the chest to cleanse the body. Inhale. Exhale. Now normally we would do several repetitions of each of these. 3, 4. Now, gather in the heaven chi. Inhale. Exhale. Push left and right to move the mountain. You'll notice that when we settle our palms out, open our eyes, that's called raise the spirit of vitality, so you don't get too sleepy. Exhale as you sink the chi to the dantian. And push forward, settle the palms. Again, we open our eyes. And in the interest of time, for the class that I teach, there are a couple of other postures that are part of the classical Tai Chi Chi-Gong that we don't do. So we finish here with white crane spreads wings. And we'll go once to each side. Exhale, and then when we finish, shake our hands, tap the feet to get rid of excess chi that's been built up in the hands and feet. Okay, thanks. I'll call you back up when we're ready to go. So that's Qigong. So health, wellness is based on a good balance of chi in your body. Acupuncture can help you do that. Herbs, herbal medicine, traditional Chinese herbal medicine are prescribed to either build up qi or reduce qi. Qigong massage, just Qigong meditation. And then there's Tai Chi Chuan, which is essentially a Qigong exercise. It's the same kind of connection between the body, the breath, and the mind, but I can also kick you. Or I can grab your wrist and do a joint lock, or I can do a takedown. In other words, there are martial applications. So you're essentially doing a Qigong exercise, balancing your qi, but it also happens to be a martial art. So for every one of the postures that I'm going to show you today, there are hundreds, literally hundreds, of punches, of kicks, of joint locks. That's a special area of study in Chinese martial arts called Qinna, which means seize and control. And takedowns, so you can throw people. And there is even ground fighting. Tai Chi, once you get into the situation when you're on the ground. Again, it takes a long, long time to get Tai Chi to the point where it actually is effective as a martial art. I often joke that if someone tried to pick a fight with me, I would say, I'm going to kick your ass, but you have to move really, really slow. And then I will really beat you up. Of course, that's not how it works as a martial art. But you learn it slowly so that you learn to control your breath and control, more importantly, your mind. All of that worry, the anxiety, we refer to that as monkey mind. And the point of Tai Chi is to quiet that monkey mind. So even if someone takes a swing at you, instead of reacting out of the typical fight or flight response, and by the way, that's the same kind of fear that people experience before they go on stage to perform, to sing, to dance, to act, which is why we teach this in the performing arts. Because learning to control that monkey mind, that stage fright, that fight or flight reaction, that's very important for performers. It's also a very good way to not get into a fight in the first place. And then if you do get into a fight, to not let fear take over. So that let the other person get all angry and monkey-minded, you stay cool. And that will be an advantage for you. Okay? So now I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate, I think, and I'll just talk a little bit about the terms themselves. The word Tai Chi, and please correct my pronunciation and correct my history, because this is something that I learned in the 90s. Some of you probably have been hearing and learning about this stuff your entire lives. So, and certainly speaking Mandarin, I don't. But Tai Chi, if you translate that literally, means grand ultimate, the pinnacle, zenith. And it has everything to do with the symbols that I put on the top and then also here. That's the symbol that represents Tai Chi, Yin-Yang. So when something starts to move, it moves until it has reached its zenith, and then there is stillness. And once stillness has been achieved, then there's motion. So when you see that symbol, if you can imagine, it's turning, and that little black spot is coming out and growing. The whole thing is dynamic balance. The ancient Chinese cosmology holds that before there was anything, everything was just a formless gray mass. There was no energy, there was no nothing. It was just Wu Qi, nothing. But as soon as something happened, immediately the world organized itself, the cosmos organized itself into this moving dynamic balance. And that's a principle that's at the heart of Tai Chi. So for example, if I'm thinking punch this way, I'm also thinking down my back foot. It's always balanced. When I move in Tai Chi, I move slowly because I know where my root is, where my balance is all the time. And I think I'm going to go ahead and have you do an exercise with me to demonstrate that idea of root. Okay? I'll finish the terms first. I realize, and Tai Chi Chuan just means grand ultimate fist. That doesn't mean that it's the best. It just means that it's based on this Taoist notion of yin-yang. The reason you learn it slowly, and this is now Western science, because when you repeat something, you actually build a neural network for that movement. And if you practice breathing and moving in a certain way over and over and over again in a very well-aligned way, eventually your brain builds a neural network for that movement. That way, if you slip on the ice or somebody takes a swing at you, you don't even have to think. Your body already knows how to not fall down, or to fall down and not hurt yourself, or to just get out of the way of the punch. So, over time, slow repetition, doing it the right way over and over and over again, basically creates an instinct. It becomes instinctive. Think about it this way. When you learned to drive, when you first were learning to drive, you were very conscious. You were thinking, monkey mind. What's in the mirror? What's in this mirror? Where's my foot go? Where's my hand go? Very careful not to crash into anything. Right? You were thinking about it consciously. But I'll bet you now, you could drive from here to Louisville, drink a cup of coffee, listen to music, talk to your friends, and not run into anything. You're not thinking about driving anymore. It's just automatic. You're on autopilot. That's why you learn Tai Chi slowly over time, because it develops that automatic way of moving. So, if you want to do this, you're welcome to do this. If you don't want to do this, you don't have to. But Logan, can I borrow you? If you want to do this with us, you need a partner. So you need to find someone and face off about this far away. Let's do a right foot thing.
All right, just go in and join. Come on, go find a partner. Have fun.
So, what I'm going to demonstrate and what you're going to feel, hopefully, is the idea of root. Root. What's the Mandarin word for root? Anybody know? All the Mandarin speakers here? I'll ask.
The Mandarin word for root.
For root. What's the word for root?
Gun.
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 Gun. Root. Gun.
Gun.
Gun. Straight. Okay. Just like a tree, it has roots. The idea of Tai Chi is that you sink your center of gravity very low. So, what Logan is going to do is, now, Logan's just going to push me. Just watch this at first, and then we'll show you how to do it. So just push me. Okay? He's finding my center of gravity. Go ahead. And he's pushing me off. Right? I'm not trying to do anything. Just letting him find that. Now, I'm going to do the same thing. Go ahead. Now, Logan is pushing pretty hard. Do I look like I'm tense? What happened to him? What just happened?
He lost his center of gravity.
How come? Because he was leaning into me. He was doing this, and so when I took the pressure off, he went flying. I wound him up like a spring, and then I got out of the way. All right? Now, what Logan should have been doing, and what he knows better than how to do, is when he pushes on me, I'm not pushing back on him, I'm sinking. And I'm taking the energy, the force that he's pushing me with is coming through here, my structure stays stable, and I sink it, I send it down my back heel. So the harder he pushes, the deeper my root goes, and the less likely it is he's going to be able to move me. Now, if he suddenly lets go, and I'm pushing against him, I lose my root. So the way that we test each other is, we go ahead and do this, and then either one of us can stop suddenly. Okay, better. Don't hold your breath. Breathe. Okay? So, now what I want you to do is face off with your partner. One of you decide that you're going to hold your arm in this shape. Pum, 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 pum. The other person takes the base of the fingers and puts it on the forearm. So again, Logan, you palm. Here, here, here. So don't grab, no grabbing, and don't lock your elbows. Your arms should be bent. All right? Now, those of you who are doing the pushing, don't lean forward. Just shift the weight from the back foot into the front a little bit. Try to find their center and push them off. Slowly. Give them, start slowly, start gently, and let them feel the pressure so that they can sink it down that back foot. Okay? And then one of you suddenly let go. Push hard. There you go. Yeah. Okay, good. Folks, don't push back. The person who's doing this, they're the only ones pushing. If you're pumped, all you're doing is shifting that energy down your back foot. If you're pushing against them and they stop suddenly, you're going to go flying. So root. Root. Now switch off. Switch off. If you are pushing, do pump. Turn your hips so that they're square at each other. No sideways. That's cheap. No tension. Your palm should be facing you. If you're pumped. Palm facing you. There you go. Turn your hips. Your belly button should be pointing at each other. Your belly button should be pointing right at each other.
It's just like, look. And then you just try to make me fall.
All right, good. Good. So that's one concept. Gun. Root. Root. There's another concept, and that's neutralization. So from the waist down, I am very, very centered and solid. But on top, it's like water. Right? So again, Logan, I'm just going to stand here like this. You know this drill, right? Okay. Angle this a little bit. I think most people do this. So I'm going to stand up high now. I'm not going to get low. Standing up high, my feet are together, so I'm pretty tippy. I'm easy to tip over. I'm going to cross my hands like this. Logan puts his hands a little bit more on my shoulders. Or not forearms. There you go. A little bit more from his forearms. Okay. Now, he's going to push me off my center, just like he did before. Go ahead.
I came back.
Go ahead, push. There we go. Try pushing slow and steady and hard rather than a sharp shot. It's just better for demonstration. There you go. Okay. So now, I'm not doing anything. I'm not rooting. And I'm just standing there and letting him push me. Now, slowly. Again. Okay, and eventually, I'll get tangled up and lose. But the idea is, if he pushes here, I'm not there. Go ahead. Okay? So on top, instead of fighting force with force, you just move out of the way and try to get back into that center line. And ultimately, that becomes push hands, or centering. So now we're both trying. He's trying to find my center and push me off, and I'm doing the same thing to him. I'm not going to move unless I have to. Right? Why waste energy? He's not trying anything, so I'm just going to stand here. He has to commit. Once he commits, then I move. Neutralization. Okay, you can have a seat. We'll demonstrate the form for you now. You guys want to do it with me?
Thank you.
Okay. So, those are some very basic concepts. Tai Chi is a very deep study. It's very simple. There's in fact a poem that I use. First, there is no mountain, then there is a mountain, then there is no mountain. What that means is when you first see somebody do Tai Chi, it just looks like they're just moving around slow. What's the big deal? That doesn't look hard. Then you start to learn it, and you realize, oh, my hip, knee, hand, head, what? And suddenly, all this stuff you have to learn. Now you're on the mountain. Now you're learning. Right? So first there is no mountain. It looks effortless. Then you start to practice. Then there is a mountain. You're climbing the mountain. It's very difficult. Then when you get to a level of expertise where you don't have to think about it anymore, there's no mountain. It's just like watching a good athlete or a good dancer. They make it look effortless. But there is a great deal of training that goes into making something look effortless. So I'm going to demonstrate Yang style 24 posture, short form. And my students, Olivia and Logan, are going to do it with me. They made me promise to remind you that they're students this semester, so now this is a good chance for you to let monkey mind show that that's not going to upset you. We'll go this way, so I think come this way a little bit. No, you're good. Come up a little bit. This way. Okay, that's good. I think everybody can see that. So every move that I do, that we do, has a name. Part wild horse's mane. Actually, I'll go ahead and say the names this time through so you can hear the names. And if I were truly a master, I could say them in Mandarin, but I can't. So I'm going to use bad English translations. So take a moment, settle. Begin. Sink the chi to the dantian. Part wild horse's mane, stepping left. Part wild horse's mane, stepping right. Part horse's mane, stepping left. You'll notice that once I start, I don't ever really stop. I change direction, just like I change breath. White crane spreads wings. I'm either inhaling or exhaling, but I'm never holding my breath. I'm either moving forward or back or changing direction, but I'm not stopping. Brush knee and step forward, number 2. Sorry about the podium. Brush knee, step forward, number 3. Play the pipa, play guitar. Repulse like monkey, or silk reeling jing. I like repulse like monkey. It's more fun to say. Number 2. Number 3. Number 4. Ward off. Peng, Lu, Ji, An. Ward off, roll back, press, and push. Peng. Grass sparrow's tail. Lu, roll back. Press. Push. Ward off right. Grass sparrow's tail and roll back. Press. And push. Single whip. Wave hands like clouds. Wave hands like clouds, number 2. hands like clouds, number 3. Single whip again. High pat the horse. Cross hands. Kick right. Attack ears with fists. Cross hands and kick left. Snake creeps down to the left. Golden rooster stands on left leg. Snake creeps down to the right. Golden rooster stands on right leg. Fair maiden weaves the shuttle. Fair maiden weaves shuttle to the left. Pick up needle at sebub. Band through back. Circle fist. Parry. Punch. Seal tightly or apparently closed. Embrace tiger. Return to the mountain. And close. And that's the Yang style short form. So as I said, every one of those postures, in fact, Logan, can I borrow you? Just to demonstrate, in my Tai Chi class, everybody gets a chance to punch the teacher once in a while. We'll try, although for demonstration purposes we'll go slow. But brush knee and step forward. Can I punch with that hand? Okay? Thank you. It's not a matter of meeting force with force. It's a matter of listening to where that other person is, knowing where their center of gravity is, getting them to tighten up and commit, and then like winding up a spring, then getting out of the way. And off they go. It's not, it's an internal, it's called an internal martial art. Now there are lots of martial arts in China. The word, oh, I forgot about this term, I'm sorry. Kung Fu, Gong Fu. In the West, what that has come to mean is fighting, Chinese fighting. But in fact, Gong Fu means anything that takes a long time and diligent practice to master. So calligraphy can be Kung Fu. Flower arranging can be Kung Fu. Anything, or the way that we in the West would use the word art, to become a real artist takes a lifelong practice. That's kind of what Gong Fu means. There is a competitive style of fighting called Wushu. Wushu is like a gymnastics contest. People will come out and do different forms and be judged. There are a lot of different, if you think about the arms race and think about human evolution, if you're in a conflict with someone and you have a secret weapon, then you have an advantage. So for most of its history, these secrets, these techniques for fighting were kept secret, hidden, because you didn't want the enemy to know what your trick was. And they came up with different names. So white crane is a kind of fighting. Tiger claw, eagle, snake, and crane. There's different styles of Chinese martial arts. Most of them are what are considered external martial arts, meaning you learn from the body first. You learn the moves and you train the moves. Tai Chi Chuan is an internal martial art where first you cultivate the Qi. Then you move that into a martial arts practice. Ultimately, a good Wushu or a good white crane fighter will get to the same place. They will still be centered, they'll still use Qi, but they come at it from the inside out, or outside in. So it's described sometimes being hit by somebody with like long fist is like getting hit with a stick or a bat. Getting hit by somebody practicing Tai Chi is like getting hit with a whip. The power is penetrating. The idea is to disrupt their Qi flow, not just to bruise them or hit them on the outside, but actually penetrate your power into their system, into their Qi system. And as I said, of course you learn it slowly, but when practiced in real time, in a real urgent or combat situation, press, which looks like this in the form, would be really, really fast. And the whole body, the whole spine, it's like a whip. So that's why it takes so long to learn as a self-defense. Because it's not just learning how to swing or how to balance or how to kick. You have to involve your entire being, your spine, your breath, your mind, and those have to become instinctive. And that's what Tai Chi is. So thank you for listening. Sorry if I went over the bit. Does anybody have any questions they'd like to ask? Anything you'd like to chat about before I go away? I teach the class every semester, 9:10 to 10:05, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. It's a regular Western class, so if you want to take it, there's no restrictions. You're welcome to register for it and take it. I'd love to see some of you. Thank you. And thank you, Logan and Olivia.